Hey everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video where today we're going to be checking out the last of the three Nightwave weapon augments, the one for the Penta and the Secura Penta, Napalm Grenades. Just want to give a huge shout out to Bengosha for lending me his mod so I can test it out and get a video out for you all today. The mod itself requires rank 22 in the Nightwave, so it is quite a heavy time investment into getting it. However, the mod seems to do a lot more than it says on the tin. It says that it leaves a patch of fire in the ground and gives an additional 30 base status chance. However, it doesn't actually do that right now. In fact, it does a bunch of weird stuff. The additive 30% status chance should take the status chance on the Secura from 26% to 56%. Because it's adding 30 onto that original chance. But it actually only takes it to 40%. In addition to that, it takes your base damage of 375, which is normally split between impact and blast, and changes it to 650 pure heat damage. So it's giving you a huge boost to the damage of the weapon. Something that the mod actually doesn't talk about at all. But wait, there's more. It takes your critical chance of 26% and lowers that to 10% too. So if you had your weapon built for crit before on the Secura, then it isn't worth having this mod. Basically though, what it's doing is that apart from the base damage, which I have no explanation for, it's actually changed most of the base stats to what the base Penta has, which is, well, weird. The crazy thing is, all of this is before we get to what the mod says it's going to do, which is to drop the patches of fire onto the floor. They are, honestly, rather small. The damage stick from the heat procs is rather pathetic. However, one interesting little use for this is you can set yourself on fire with it. So those that love Ember can have a very reliable way of proccing their passive for a little bit of energy regen. The mod also removes bouncy grenades and has ones that explode on impact. So no more 3 grenades out at once and no more manual detonation. Which allows you to be a lot more accurate with it, since once you know the arc of the shots, you can just get to land at their feet instead of bouncing all over the place and off bits of terrain. But the sort of at the expense of potentially blowing yourself up with it, which the manual detonation does at least allow you to avoid. Modding wise, I went pretty much with a straight damage build here, running heavy caliber because it doesn't affect the deviation of the grenade too much. And then straight corrosive, because at the higher level, where you need the extra damage, decent status chance like 84%, I say decent, fantastic status chance, means that each grenade is going to do additional damage. So you get a corrosive proc, the next grenade does more damage, and then more damage, so it stacks up quite nicely. Plus corrosive is fantastic as an all-rounder against the Corpus, and obviously against the Infested as well. You could, if you wanted to really focus on Squishy Corpus, switch out high voltage for the Thermite rounds, and go with a massive whack of gas damage here. You could also, if you wanted to, play around with the Firestorm mod. It's not a bad mod, I just wanted to focus more on the damage than I did on the Explosion Radius. And the Explosion Radius thing from Firestorm doesn't affect Napalm Grenades like the flame thing on the floor, as far as I could tell anyway. So I just decided against using it, but it's not a bad option if you want to go that way. So with all that said and done, what do I think of the mod? Well, honestly, I actually kind of love it. I know right now it's pretty clearly not working as intended. Reverting most of the stats of the Secura to the base Penta is quite obviously a bug. But the reason I went ahead and did this video anyway is that as far as I can tell, that change to the base damage might be intended. Because it's not explainable like the stat changes are. And when you put the crit Secura Penta alongside the Napalm Grenade Secura Penta and kill the same enemies, even with it reverting back to those the base Penta stats, the Napalm Grenade Secura actually comes out ahead in killing potential. Which means that once the bug gets fixed, this mod only gets better, provided it keeps that base damage. The problem for me with the Penta is that it's a combination of, quite frankly, two of the worst damage types, Impact and Blast, both of which are among the bottom tier when it comes to doing damage to higher level enemies. Not to mention how annoying Blast procs are for your allies who might be trying to get headshots for their, like if you're using a Catch Moon with the Arcane. Suddenly enemies are on the floor and you're not able to get headshots anymore. Changing that base damage to heat and boosting it while giving it additional status actually makes the weapon scale better. Especially since you can run you know, corrosive and a heat builds, you can run radiation builds, and you can run, frankly, massive gas proc builds. The only problem actually with the mod is the fire it drops on the floor. The one thing the mod actually says it does is it's probably its biggest problem. It's got an interesting synergy with Ember and her passive, plus Mirage can use her Hall of Mirrors to put multiple of them down and sort of coat an area. But realistically, the damage from the proc isn't worth talking about. The range of it is super short and doesn't get affected by Firestorm, but it does work kind of nicely in a corridor since enemies, you know, for some reason just walk straight into it and then you get a fire proc. And that can be reasonable crowd control and some area denial, I guess. It even works nicely at higher level, which ties down high priority enemies you might not be one-shotting anymore, because they're stuck in an endless loop of fire procs while you burn them down with big damage and corrosive procs. Plus you're hitting that big enemy and all of the squishier enemies around them are exploding, so it is actually very, very good at that. I do hope that the base damage, like, those changes stay, because honestly that's the only thing that actually makes the mod worth using. If the base damage gets reverted back to the standard Penta or the Secura Penta levels, it relies only on that additional status chance and the fire patches of the ground, at which point, honestly and quite frankly, it becomes a waste of a mod slot. I guess all we can do is wait, see what happens with that one. Let's hope it doesn't get hit with the swing of the bat too hard. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the new Napalm Grenades mod for the Penta series. I have a couple of videos planned to come out soon. I've been unwell for the last week or so content's been a bit sporadic and all over the place. But I'll be back and swinging again soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Smash that like button if you liked the video, sub for more Warframe content, and I shall see you in the next one.